Dave, tell me a story. Give me a scenario of something going sideways in a transaction that could have completely destroyed the deal or was a major headache for the seller or the buyer if you're representing them. And how did you solve it?
Do you want? I can tell you one where we didn't solve. I could tell you,
I want one that you actually did solve.
I got a fresh one that just fell apart because the buyer got cold feet. So that happens. Let's see. We had a failed septic tank. It was the original 1970 something septic tank that was metal. They don't make them out of metal anymore for a reason, in Oregon in particular. And so we were able to structure it. Thankfully, the buyer was still committed to getting this done. And it was good for the sellers. I was representing the seller. They had their eye on this townhome that's near their one of their children and their brand new grandbaby, and they really wanted to be close.
The sellers did.
Wanted to, when you got your first grandbaby, like that's it changes your priorities
a lot.
And so the house had been on the market, and they were it was dated, and so we were getting ready to pull it off the market. They were going to do some updates. We were going to put it back on in the spring, but lo and behold, a buyer had came through. They had finally sold their house. They wanted this house earlier, but couldn't sell theirs. Finally got theirs sold, and they could now make an offer on our home. So we got that going, and that really sparked my sellers in making this a reality. They found a townhome in the neighborhood they wanted near their grandbaby, and we're all excited to get that taken care of. When the inspection comes by, we find out that it's the original septic tank, that it's rusted out, and it needs to be replaced.
Which is usually how much?
Depending on, there's two levels of doing it. If they do soil tests and stuff and they found that it's leaked into the ground, now you're talking about tens of thousands, because depending on how far they have to excavate, there's different permitting that they have to do. But because it had rusted but not leaked into the ground soil, we were able to do a faster permit process that only took like 2 or 3 days. I think it was like $3,500, maybe $4,000. It was. I mean, it's a big chunk if you don't have that lying around and stuff, but we were able to structure it to where the buyers could hire the septic guy to do the replacement, but the sellers were going to pay for it, and it would come out of the proceeds of the home so that they didn't have to front the cash. It's held in third-party escrow so that it's protected, and so there was a lot of back and forth there. It really got, because they're so close to the destination of finally moving on to this next chapter of their life and living in the townhome and stuff like that. When something like that kind of dashes your dreams at the last minute, it's very stressful. But I was able to call a couple of different septic tank companies, coordinate the guy to come out and get different bids, coordinate payment being done at closing rather than up front. They had X amount of dollars they needed to put down onto the townhome, so there was some budgetary concerns with that. It wasn't like they could just write a check and get this problem taken care of. That's where the value of a realtor really comes into play, is coordinating all of this. Is that's a
headache. Just listening to that, I'm stressed out already.
And
I don't have grandbabies.
When it's like right before closing, like we're talking about 10 days before closing, so it's really drop everything, and somebody needs to spend their full attention on getting this coordinated, and that's what I was able to do.
And you've dealt with septic systems and things like this, so again, you have that experience. You're not going into it blind.
Right.
Like if I was going, I've never replaced a septic system. I don't know who to call. I don't know all those different steps, and so why wouldn't you want someone who can walk the seller or the buyer through a process like that and make sure it's done right, done well, and to the best advantage of everyone involved, so that sellers can get near grandbaby, buyers can get into the house, and everyone can live happily.
The buyers got a brand new septic system, so they were able to sleep easy. The sellers knew, that they needed to get that done once it was revealed that had happened, and so that they weren't upset that was something that they had to deal with. But everybody wins in the end.
Perfect. I like it.